Hello and you're very welcome to this week's edition of Waterford Report on City Channel Waterford with me, Janice Corrigan. On tonight's programme we'll be heading to the Manifesto Art Gallery in Waterford City, getting back to our roots with the emigrant's tale, but before that we'll see how Waterford City Council aims to tackle chewing gum litter. A major campaign to tackle the gum litter problem in Waterford City is now underway. Waterford City Council is one of 15 local authorities in Ireland chosen to participate in the first phase of the Gum Litter Task Force nationwide Gum Litter Action Campaign.
The Chewing Gum Litter campaign is part of a national campaign to try to reduce the amount of gum litter on the streets. It is a problem in Waterford City and we've noticed it over the last few years. And this campaign is to make people aware that chewing gum is considered litter and that you can be fined €125 litter fine for disposing of your gum irresponsibly. We've noticed that the city centre streets are particularly bad, and also areas around bus stops or shopping centres in the suburbs. As you walk into a shopping centre, people do seem to spit it out onto the streets rather than putting it in the wrapper or putting it into a bin. And this campaign is particularly to target areas like this. Some of the posters have gone up on bus shelters adjacent to shopping centres, and the aim is that people will begin to dispose of the gum responsibly. Also, there's a lot of shops in the city that have taken part by putting up the posters. There's 12,000 shops nationwide, so the likes of the larger shops in particular all have the posters up within their stores. They also have little smaller posters and the slogan, "Thanks for binning your gum when you're done," at the point of sales.
A lot of work is involved in the clean-up operation, as Ella Ryan explains.
It's a very tedious job. As you can imagine, each piece of gum has to be individually removed. We do it by power washing, so our staff have to target every single piece of chewing gum litter on the streets. So it is quite a big job. It's a 12-month campaign. It was launched in July, so it will continue through to the summer of 2008. Within those 12 months we hope to get schools involved. They can get resource packs. In particular, we're targeting secondary schools to try and get the younger people involved. Waterford City Council is one of 15 local authorities that are taking part in this campaign, and it will be rolled out further across the country if it's successful.
An Emigrant's Tale looks at the experiences of Irish in America during the famine times. It also explores the influence of Irish music and dance in America. Director Martin Murray from Carrick-on-Shore in County Tipperary is internationally respected on the trad scene as a sound engineer, producer and performer. His career includes playing Mick Jagger's 50th birthday party with the Chieftains, with whom he travelled the world.
It's a show of music, song and dance and storytelling based on the whole story of immigration from the famine, from the mid-1800s. Basically up to today, how the music has progressed up to modern times. But it takes in the famine, immigration of the Flanagan brothers here from Waterford. They have a big input into it. They were huge on the vaudeville scene, the dancehall scene in the 1920s and 30s. And they made hundreds and hundreds of recordings. They recorded actually as many of the old 78 records in their day as the Beatles did singles in their day. And they were from Summerhill here in Waterford. So it has a Waterford connection that way, but it deals with the Irish-American immigration from the time of the famine.
He says the idea for the show came from requests from members of the public.
So I decided to put something together that wasn't stage Irishy, because you get a lot of that, in fairness. The Yanks are getting a lot of that coming into this country. So the songs and tunes that you'll hear in the show are not necessarily stuff that you'll have heard before, but very relevant stuff, and some of it penned by Tim O'Brien from Nashville, who's of Irish descent. Some lovely songs of immigration from his pen, and other stuff, again, written by Eric Bogle that's not that well known, and music from the Flanagan brothers, that period of time, that type of Dixieland swing kind of style to it, with banjos that they did back then. So it wouldn't be stuff that you'd normally hear every day, but we haven't had any complaints about the show so far anyway. Everybody seems to enjoy it. And as I said, the variety is there, the songs, good singers. We have 3 singers in the show. And we have 4 dancers. They're all between 16 and 18 years of age, fit and well able to crack the boards. And we also have a guest in the show who's from Waterford. He's the world champion dancer, won the world championships this year, Richard Murray.
Martin Murray says there are a number of stories to be told throughout this show.
We tell the story of all the music and songs that we do. We tell the story of them, where they came from and what the relevance is. They actually deal with the American Plains Wars, which is not something that you'd hear about too often. Basically in the mid-1800s, when with the emigration from here, when men arrived at the US, the only work they could get was with the US cavalry, which meant fighting the Native American Indians. So we dwell on that a bit. And there's also the American Civil War comes into it. And it's stuff that normally wouldn't be touched on in other scopes of immigration, you know. So we decided to make it a bit different.
It took me 3 great leaps to negotiate those steps. Sure, the sergeant, he was sleeping on the job. At my haste he was surprised as he rubbed his bloodshot eyes and he licked the ringer porter from his gob. I explained about the ass, like a dodo on the grass, and told him rigor mortis had set in. With a big profanity, he said, "Why the hell tell me?" I says, "I'm just informing next of kin."
I would have had a lot of friends in Waterford. Obviously I lived here for a long time, and my friends who were involved in the traditional music and locals alike would probably get the impression that the show would be geared just for tourists, because, as I said earlier, you get a lot of stage Irishy shows for tourists. There's loads of them in the country, so we automatically get that impression. But when they have come, a lot of them have come since and realised that it's not like that. It's a good traditional show, and it's very authentic, and a lot of information given out. And as I said, the variety and entertainment is very good in it. So even people who are not necessarily traditional Irish music followers can enjoy this show and do. It's a very, overall here at Dooley's, it's very comfortable. The meal and the show is costed out at $27.50. Now for a full show, 2-hour show with a 15-minute break and a 3-course meal, that's very good value. And it's the same in Langton's Hotel on a Tuesday night in Kilkenny. But that's very good value, and people do say that to us, that it is very good value. There's a website up there at the moment called Rip Off Ireland, and the Americans are reading about this now, but we're certainly not part of that. We do get complimented for them, as we are given very good value for money.
Martin Murray says the show has been a huge success since it started, and he intends to bring it back to Waterford next year.
Next year we're going to be back, and I will definitely have an Emigrants' Tale Part 2 for next year. If we want to keep the local, you asked the question a while ago about the locals and tourists, the ratio. Well, we definitely would have more tourists coming to hear the show, obviously, but the locals here in Waterford, we're getting more and more. This year we had a lot more locals than last year, and Kilkenny, we always had a good few locals in Kilkenny. It was good local support, but to keep the local interest, yes, we definitely would have a version 2 next year.
And oh, you look so lovely, dressed in green and gold. And oh, you look so lovely, dressed in green and gold.
Join us after the break here on Waterford Report on City Channel Waterford with me, Janice Corrigan, where we'll be heading to Manifesto Art Gallery in Waterford City. You're very welcome back to this week's edition of Waterford Report on City Channel Waterford with me, Janice Corrigan. Manifesto Gallery is the only privately owned gallery in Waterford City. It's now showing an exhibition called Anywhere But Here, which celebrates the cultural diversity in Waterford. Manifesto Gallery in Waterford City was officially opened by Mayor of Waterford, Mary O'Halloran, at the beginning of this month. Roisin OShea is a partner in the gallery.
I'm an artist professional since 1985, and I'm quite old, so won't go into that. But I've lived just from my art from 1985 through until now, and about 5 years ago I set up an organisation called Waterford Designer Makers, which was professionals based in the county who did ceramics, jewellery, paintings, and this was with the County Enterprise Board, and the idea was we did workshops to talk about what could we do to best promote the work of full-time professionals in the arts. And I knew the answer before we started facilitation, and it was the same answer at the end, and the answer was we needed somewhere to sell the work. It's not simple, because the creative drive is coming from each of the people, but where are you going to sell the work? And we finished that process about 2 years ago, and at that stage the last gallery in Waterford shut down, which was Dye House. There's only one state gallery now and one municipal gallery, but they're both state run. This was the time in my life to take a gamble and just go for it. So I overheard a conversation about this place. This building is 1745 and it's 15-foot high ceilings. It's an amazing space. Heard about it, moved on it. It's got a restricted planning permission because it's a conservation building, but I'm in Antashka, so you couldn't get a more suitable tenant. And I just went for it, and like I put all that money into it. It's in and invested now. So it's a place for me to sell my own work and to sell the work of other people. And we operate an open door policy. Every Saturday we look at work. I don't care if you're 16 or 96. I don't care if you went to college. It's on the basis of your work. So when people, I did a promo thing on one of the radio shows just saying, and we got swamped with people coming in, but out of that came really brilliant work. So I think the problem about being an artist, not just in Ireland, is that you work in isolation. So you don't have anybody giving you critical feedback on your work. So we have 195 people's work in here at the moment, 54 of whom are painters. A lot of them are local, but they're Irish. And what we do is when the work comes in, we critically evaluate the work and discuss it and see if they've maybe got lazy or they're not going to the full capacity of what they could do. And it's turned into a kind of a symbiotic relationship between myself and the other artists, and they evaluate my work too, which is a bit scary. But it means that we have a kind of an organic business that's growing. And it is a business that's turning over really well. And what has surprised me is that people in Waterford really want original paintings, and they don't want to feel it's too rarefied or to be scared off. So the staff that work here and myself know everything about the artist. Instead of traceable beef, we have traceable art. And I know who the artist is, I know why they made it, I know where they are, I know how they work, I go to their studio, and then we can tell that to the person who's going to buy the painting. So they've got a life story behind the work, not just the work itself.
The current exhibition being shown is Anywhere But Here, which features 5 artists from 4 continents celebrating the cultural diversity of Waterford.
At the moment we have an exhibition on called Anywhere But Here, which is artists from the 4 continents of the world, and I was trying to reflect the cultural diversity that Waterford has at the moment. And the Mayor of Waterford, Mary O'Halloran, opened the exhibition last Thursday. And it's we have a New York artist, Chris Yole, a Nigerian artist called Nwoke, an artist called Merab Jaglania, and he'll kill me if I say that wrong, but I think that's how you say it. And he's from Dooley, Georgia, beside Russia. Alexander Stutsky, who's in the Ukraine, and then we have one Irish person who's from Tremor as the representative for this land, and it's Vincent Godfrey Klin. So we have a really interesting array of work, from abstract impressionism to realist to life story from Nigeria. This is the green room, and we change the green room around every couple of months, and the blue room is full of our crafts and jewellery and ceramics and glasswork. What I wanted was for this to be fresh and appealing and open to anybody to walk in, and I wanted to be a shop as well as a gallery, so that it's real and it's about the work being bought by people. It's not just about looking at the work. Yes, come in and look and enjoy, but these artists have to live, so buy.
Roisin OShea says she has big plans for the future of the gallery.
We've called the gallery Manifesto, and because it's a manifesto about how life is going to be for myself and for the gallery, because it's my baby and we're interlinked. And my partner Shane and I, Shane is Shane Dempsey from Tremor, and Shane works in TSSG as a researcher, and so he's all numbers and logics and logistical thinking. I'm all emotion and art and creative, but we're partners in the business as well, life partners. And we're very aware that you have to be online to sell. Like, I'm selling online with my own work already for a few years, and we're developing an online gallery for the gallery here itself. We're linking with other galleries, New York, Germany, Hong Kong, to take work from Ireland out and to bring work back. And we're also going to do our first full-blown art auction in December, on December 7th. And we're going to do somewhere between Keary's and Adams auctions, somewhere like midpoint there. But Waterford is a cultural hotspot. It's developing, it's growing, and we want to give it a good kick and keep it moving along.
Merab Jaglania was born in Georgia in 1954 and has been living and working in Prague since 1995. He studied art in Moscow until 1993, and his works have been represented in the Art Zurich International 2004, Art Dublin 2004 to 2006, Manchester Art Show 2005, Contemporary Art Fair Edinburgh 2005 and Art Melbourne 2006. Okay, George, so first of all, could you ask Merab to describe his paintings?
So he wants to bring up like love and kindness and to be nice to each other, and like all people they need to be nice to each other, to give love to each other and to be nice to the people. And that's what he said that he wants to bring with his paints.
And where did this inspiration come from?
He says that he saw a lot of paints where like does not come like good energy from these paints, and he wanted to bring like really good energy to people, like to feel, well, I don't know, to love each other, like from watching his paints, and that was his idea of these paints. And he got inspiration like from, I don't know, maybe from bad paints or something where he did not get like good energy or something like this. Like to make people to feel good.
And he uses bright colours, and red is particularly predominant. Why is this?
The red color is really attracting your view. Like it has more energy than any other colors. So that's why he chose the red color.
And the use of the cat, what's that for?
With cat, he symbolizes like it's with woman, the cat. So he wants to bring up cat like it's a woman who, like love from woman, kindness from woman, and like good energy, like again from woman. Like,
and what are your impressions of Waterford?
That is like a really nice city. It's not like really big or something, and he really likes to stay here, and what he saw, he really likes to stay here and be here.
Nwoke now lives in Waterford and holds a diploma in art and design from the Institute of Textile Technology in Lagos, Nigeria, and a diploma in African arts from the National Institute of African Art and Culture, also in Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, Chris, so could you first tell us briefly about your paintings?
My paintings that are exhibited here, they're just oil pastel colors on canvas, and they're just an expression of my inner self, trying to express my feelings, my life, what I feel about this life, what I see every day, what I grew up with in Africa. So that is what I just express in these canvas works.
And these pictures are of Africa. Are they symbolic of life in Africa?
Yeah, every of my work, as I just said, is symbolic. It tells stories, and it entertains, and it's something that reflects our history, where we are coming from, our root. So if you check out the whole painting, each of them is symbolic.
Okay, and the top picture, could you tell us a little bit about that? It's a picture of a very strong-looking woman.
a woman that is just trying to express herself. Is somebody having confidence in what you're doing, regardless of what people feel about what you're doing. The most important thing is loving what you're doing. You can see that the woman is stylized. She's quite, if you look at the woman, you find out that the woman is unique in her style, her pose. So it's symbolic to her. It can't get another person who poses like that. So she's trying to express that I am a hawker. I am hawking fruits, and I enjoy hawking fruits. Regardless of how demeaning, people will see that, look at me hawking fruit, a beautiful woman hawking fruit. But it's better than doing something else that does not give me joy. So what she's doing, she's happy doing what she's doing. That is why you can see her with such a beautiful pose.
And then about yourself, you're here in Waterford. Do you tend to stay here for the long term?
I'm here in Waterford to learn more about Ireland, to learn, see if I can take what they have, the good things they have here, to improve on what I have, but not distorting what I have. We have to intermingle. We have to borrow from other people, the good side of them, and add to what you have. Like since I came, beautiful painting. A lot of artists here doing good jobs, you know. And I have learned a lot, and I've done a few courses with cork print. It's an improvement. I don't know anything about print work before. So it's an added advantage to my work. So, and I hope to go back to Africa, yeah, to work and to improve and to better people there because they need me there.
Well, that's it from this week's edition of Waterford Report on City Channel Waterford with me, Janice Corrigan. If you've got a story you'd like us to check out, log on to our website on www.city.ie.